everyone, and welcome to yet another refreshing episode of Podshots with Bhawna, your weekly espresso shots of wisdom. Well, today is going to be a very interesting conversation because the guest whom I have invited, she is not just a brand ambassador, but I would say that she's actually ambassador of personal branding. So she is the one who really emphasizes a lot about that if your self brand does not have internal clarity, obviously it's not going to connect to the outside world. So whether you are a solopreneur, a founder, a leader, or leader in transition, or for that matter any professional person, believe me, this conversation is really going to be very impactful for each one of us. So allow me a moment till I bring her up onto the screen for all of us. Okay, guys. So the way I was just telling you a few moments before that today's guest, what I call that she's not a brand ambassador, but ambassador of brand building. So she comes with a very refreshing approach of something very important, which many a times many of us actually overlook, which is the topic of self branding and how self awareness is very critical for the same. So please join me to welcome Aarti Parmar. Aarti is a certified brand strategist. She's a personal brand coach. She's a speaker, and she is the one who really helps leaders, founders, professionals in order to gain the clarity, confidence, and consciousness about self branding. So I'm thrilled to have you on show, Aarti. Welcome once again, and thank you so much for joining directly from UK. I'm really privileged to have you on my show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. So wonderful.
Thanks a lot. So, Aarti, just to let you know the format of the show, since it's a shorter version of the podcast, that's why it is Podshot. So there are going to be a set of 4 or 5 main questions in the core grid, followed by a sensational, sizzling rapid fire of 1 minute towards the end.
Great stuff. I look forward to it. Let's go.
Okay, same here. Okay, so let me begin with the first question, Aarti. I have been privileged to actually sit through a couple of your sessions, so I very well know that how much do you advocate about the personal branding, which starts with the internal clarity. But for the benefit of the audience, if you can let everybody know that why is it so important to have that internal clarity and how to practice it actually.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important because, nowadays we know that there is a lot more choice and accessibility. When I say that, from the digital aspect, right? People have a lot more choice and accessibility to reach businesses, to reach people. So therefore, we really now need to start thinking about, well, actually, you know, how do I help people to understand why me? Why am I the person that's going to be helping them to find the solutions that they need, maybe it's personally, maybe for their business. I've been in the position where I've hit brick walls and I'm going round in circles because I didn't have the clarity and the understanding. So going inwardly first for that internal clarity helps us to have, as you already mentioned, self-awareness, that inner alignment, which then helps to create the identity that we actually want to be known for and attract the kind of audiences that we actually want to be speaking with, or the relationships we want to be building in that sense. So, I always like to say a brand is a combination of created perceptions, and it is those perceptions that form emotional connections and associations to us. So we now need to start thinking about what perceptions do we want to create about ourselves? And that's an inward question. So then we can come from that place.
Yeah, I think very valid and very nicely explained. So I think that internal clarity is something which is the driver to connect to the outside world. So I think
Yeah.
that really is the key which you have covered. So since you come, you work with so many founders, leaders, professionals. So you are in the intersection of the strategy development as well as the brand building or the mindset development. So how does your coaching experience and expertise help you influence this brand building with the corporate world?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to remember it's people behind brands that are driving it, fueling it. So, with bearing that in mind, people need to connect with themselves before they can build this big scalable business or, rank higher in the workspace, that kind of thing. So that clarity with bringing the coaching and the element of brand and brand strategy helps people to have that inner alignment for outer expression. Because, again, I've been there when I didn't know about coaching and I had been coached, I had a lot of reflections around my own blind spots, and those blind spots stop us from showing up, creating what it is that we want and our, growth that we want and the desired outcomes that we want. So, bringing this element together of that inner alignment and really taking ownership, it helps so much more and it becomes a lot more easeful to go out and express externally from that place of like, this is me, I know what I'm doing, I feel great about this, and come from flow instead of dread and like, oh gosh, and doubting
Exactly.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, I think this really helps. As I said, that I've been fortunate to attend a couple of your sessions, so that that kind of blend what you bring in your sessions, it really adds to not only the flow but influences the entire piece of it. So it really gets registered
Yeah,
much easier.
look, and just to add to that, we are in a sea sometimes of sameness. So we really
Exactly.
need to understand our own greatness, our own true potential, our strengths, our values, because then that can be carried out with a lot more conviction and energy.
Absolutely. And Aarti, in this section, you just mentioned about the blind spots, right? So my next question to you would be that irrespective of the stage of the leadership or the professional journey, we tend to have some blind spots, which sometimes we are aware of it, sometimes most of us are oblivious about the same. So so what according to you are those blind spots which leaders generally face, and how they can actually course correct that in order to develop the personal branding as well as branding for the business?
Yeah, so the way I'm going to answer that, because I work with a lot of, founder-led businesses and stuff like that. So one of the there's multiple things, but one of the key things that comes up again and again is that they focus on what looks right instead of what feels right. So what I mean by that, sometimes they're like, oh, I really need to get my logo done. I really need to get my website sorted and all of those kind of things. And what happens then, they end up becoming more of a product-led, sales-led business when actually they need to be thinking about their brand foundations. So what they need to do is pause the external push, 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 go internal. I know this is the theme here, going internal. Get clear on your brand foundations, because then it's not about pushing, then it's about attracting. I always like to say a brand attracts, a business transacts. So if your brand is doing its job well and attracting, be it the people that are individually representing the brand, then it's a much more, more joyful journey as well to attract the people you actually want to serve or connect with in that sense. And making sure then every touch point is aligned with that brand representation.
Oh, I think that's very important thing which you have brought up. So it actually acts like a magnet. So you are actually pulling it towards you. So I think that that's very well summed up. Now coming to another piece of it, that do you think that brand building or self brand development is actually a form of self leadership as well? And if it is, how does it help? And in the overall, paraphernalia of branding.
Yeah, I see it as a really wonderful opportunity to walk your talk, and start taking real radical responsibility. Um, And it's an opportunity to not be reactive to every decision. Instead, when you get to really understand why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, the difference that you want to make, be it to other people, in your industry space, in community, in society, in humanity, you're coming at this now from a whole different level. Like I said, you get to take radical responsibility. You get to make wrongs right. You get to be a catalyst for change. I always like to say a brand is a vehicle to serve, grow, and impact. Take away even the word brand. We are all vehicles to serve, grow, and impact. There's always something that we could be improving in this world that we are even living in today. So, it's a great opportunity to anchor into your values, your purpose, your mission, and actually, live life from a fulfilled place because you're doing something you actually love that you believe in. So yeah, that it's a great opportunity to be a conscious leader now.
Yeah, I think, of course, it would take some time or effort for someone to actually practice it. So,
Yes. And
so
before it gets into practicing, it's about understanding
right,
what the difference you want to make, who you are, understanding your own strengths and values, because we're not building a brand on other people's successes and values and stuff. We've got to build it on our own. Therefore, then the journey thereafter of executing, delivering, being it becomes a lot more easier. And I say journey because it doesn't just, once I
yeah,
know it, it stops there. No, it's an
correct,
evolving,
ongoing.
beautiful journey. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And being mindful of the time, so I have actually come to the last section of this core grid. So what, according to, because you get to work with the solopreneurs, with the startups, to the established, leaders. But what's that one branding principle, which actually is fits all across any businesses or any industry or any stage of the profession?
Yeah, I would say your brand foundations. Because if you don't understand what your brand foundations are, your purpose, mission, vision, values, understanding your positioning, who you're serving, why you're serving them, the difference you want to make, all of this, forms your positioning. It will then also inform your branding, how the look and feel of, your communications, your style, your imagery. It will inform your website. It will inform your customer experience and what you would like for them to experience. That's what brand is about. It's about an experience. It's about an energy.
Right.
It's also that part of the brand foundations helps you understand not just what your brand is today, what is it for tomorrow, the future, so you can scale accordingly and be enjoy the journey along the way, but be a lot more intentional and effective. And now it doesn't feel like a scattergun approach. So, like you said, I work with the multi six figures, I work with the multi seven figures, which have a team of hundreds, which have team of hundreds. That same, I've been in the boardrooms, I've been with the one person. Those brand foundations are the core, or that core identity. Getting clarity on that core identity is what's helped them to get the results that they've wanted.
Great. I think that really sums up what you have said, and you have really emphasized it so well that how important it is to
Yeah.
not to ignore the self branding, which many a times many of us tend doing that. But it's really very very core element if you really have to approach to the outside world. So thanks. This brings us to the conclusion of the core round. So now it's the rapid fire. So I'm
Let's
going to
go.
shoot some questions to you, and obviously, we are going to have these are just very informal, quirky questions. So
Go for
just
it.
very candid replies from your side. Are you ready, Aarti?
Let's
Okay, so
go.
let me start. Let me start the timer. Okay, so Aarti, one British thing which you have totally picked up, is it tea at four or saying sorry too often?
Saying sorry too often, definitely.
Okay, okay. So what is your desi comfort food on a stressful day? A desi food.
Oh, it's got to be my mum's cooking.
And any
Anything and
specific dish?
everything she makes. So shark rotli, curry, dal
Okay.
bhat, all of that kind of thing. Literally everything that she makes. So it's definitely a variety
So it sounds so
going
mouthwatering
on at home.
for all of
Yeah,
us.
I'll go to her house and right, what you got cooking, mum?
So
And
of
there's
course,
always
right,
food at
that
her house.
it's sounding itself so mouth-watering. So I'm sure that you you really crave on those. Okay, next one. Since you keep trotting around the world, so is it KL weather, UK rain, or Indian monsoon? Which one would you pick for your next brand workshop?
Sorry, say the first one again.
KL weather, UK rain, or Indian monsoon?
Oof, that's a difficult one. Sunshine, it's got to be the kale weather.
KL one. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's nice.
Sunshine,
Okay.
always sunshine.
Sure. Okay, so now the last one. So if when you walk into a room, which are those three words do you hope people feel from your presence?
Um,
Tough one.
yeah, I think I know this because this is part of the work that I do with others. So for me, it's that optimism, an element of groundedness, and something I often get reflected is my calmness.
Sorry?
Calmness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice. So thank you so much. So we are sharp on time, and this was a great conversation, Aarti. I'm really honored that you really made time for this show, especially being sitting miles apart from where I am sitting. So thank you so much, and I'm sure the audience must have really related to a lot of things and have lots to take away from this
Oh,
conversation. So thanks a
wonderful. Honored
lot,
to be
and
here. Thank you.
thank you so much and wishing you good luck and love to see you once you are in India.
Yes, that'll be awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
Sure.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Aarti. Okay, so how refreshing and fruitful this conversation was. I'm sure that Aarti really compelled each one of us to take a very timely pause to understand that how internal clarity is so much needed in the world when we are chasing so much of visibility. But finding the real purpose that for what you want to be visible for really matters the most. So if you are someone who's building the legacy or starting up something on your own or just a business leader or any professional starting up from here, I think this is a great reminder for each one of us that how self branding is a way to reach and connect to the outside world. So go reflect upon your inside, find out the purpose, find out the reason, and do all that introspection in order to create that visibility and your branding, which is not something to be ignored about. So while I go and refill my shot, how about you? Go grab one of yours and don't forget to come back next Friday when I bring on another interesting episode, another interesting, insightful conversation with another industry leader. Till then, stay real, stay clear, and take good care of yourself as well as your loved ones. Till next time we meet, signing off. Bye bye.